Unit 8, Day 6, Trapezoids and Kites. There's two types of trapezoids. You've got non-isosceles and isosceles. Obviously, you know isosceles having two sides congruent as well as the base angles being congruent. Okay, so here a trapezoid only has one pair of opposite sides parallel, and the consecutive angles are supplementary. Again, that means they add to 180. Okay. The isosceles trapezoids, you've got the same properties. Non-parallel sides are congruent, diagonals are congruent, and then base angles are congruent, and again, opposite angles are supplementary. Okay, so number one, here, these are consecutive angles. So what I would do to find M, okay, so angle M, I would go 180 minus 87, and that's going to be 93. Okay? And now for angle K, I'm going to highlight these and remind myself those are consecutive. So for angle K, I'm going to go 180 minus 51, and that's going to give me 129 degrees. Okay? And remember, anything that's four-sided has to add up to 360. Alright? So, another example of number one would be similar to number one is number two. So here, these are consecutive angles. Okay? And then my equation for that would be 54 plus 8x plus 6 is equal to 180. Okay, so now let's add like terms. So 54 plus 6, 60 plus 8x equals 180. You subtract the 60, that becomes 120. 120 divided by 8, x is 15, and we are done with that problem. Okay, now you've got an isosceles trapezoid. Remember, refer to all these properties up here. So DG, what matches up with DG? You've got EF, okay? And then DF, well, what matches up with DF? EG, all right? Now, number 4 is very similar to 1 and 2. Can you guys try this? Try number 4 and solve for X right there, okay? Next topic, we're going to talk about a mid-segment of a trapezoid. Alright, so here is your mid-segment. Okay, we've done mid-segments and triangles before. Mid-segments of trapezoids is pretty much the same thing. So, if EF is the mid-segment of a trapezoid, ABCD, then EF, okay, is parallel to AB and DC. Alright? Also, the way that they relate is EF, okay, is equal to half AB plus CD. So basically the mid-segment is the average, okay, of the two bases. Alright? So for a trapezoid, it's important to remember that these are both bases. So you've got base 1 here and base 2 there, and the mid-segment is in the middle. Okay, so let's try this one. You've got AB, this is 14, DC is 26, find EF. So you've got X is equal to half 14 plus 26. Well, you can simply put that into your calculator, right? So you've got 1/2 14 plus 26. And then you've got X is 20, okay? So now, here you've got, if EF is 22, and then DC is 38, find AB, okay? So, now we've got to flip our equation and start off. Here's my mid-segment, 22, okay? And then again, that half, okay? X plus 38. Okay, so let's see how well your algebra skills are. Find x. Okay? Next thing. Here we go. So you've got the same thing, but there's more variables than the other two problems. Okay, so we're just going to ramp it up a notch. So you've got 5x minus 19, okay, which is your mid-segment, equals half 38 plus x plus 14, okay? So now 5x minus 19, let's clean this up. 38 plus 14, that gives me 52. So you've got x plus 52, okay? So now I'm going to, you can distribute 5x minus 19 equals half x. 52 divided by 2, that's 26. Okay? Alright, so here it is. I'm going to get rid of the smaller half. Okay? So that's going to be 4.5x minus 19 equals 26. I'm going to add 19 to both sides. Okay, I'm going to bring that up here. Okay, so 26 plus 19 is 45. So 4.5x equals 45. You divide by 4.5 on both sides. What do you get? X equals 10. Are we done? Nope. So you have to find yz. What's our value for yz? Go ahead and plug in. Okay? Alright, the last quadrilateral we're going to deal with for this unit is a kite. You have to think about a kite as two isosceles triangles attached to each other. So here's one isosceles triangle, okay, and here's the other one. You have exactly two pairs of consecutive congruent sides, okay, just like what I mentioned. You have one pair of opposite angles congruent, okay, so your congruent angles would be right here, alright, and then diagonals are perpendicular, okay, so it's a good thing to put all those boxes right away in there, okay. I'm going to make this a little more clearer so you could see what I'm talking about. So those are your diagonals in a kite, and then again, remember, they are perpendicular, okay. So for number 1, you've got one pair. You've got to remember that exactly one pair of opposite angles are congruent. So you have to remember that angle B is congruent to angle D. Now ask yourself, what is the bank for a kite? It is 360. Okay? So what you're going to do is you're going to go 360 minus 85 minus 43, and you are going to get 232. Well, these two, you've got two angles missing. They cannot be both 232. So that was step 1. Step 2 would be 232 divided by 2. That gives you 116. So both these angles are 116. All right? So now, again, for number 2, you have to remember that these are two different isosceles triangles, okay? And then, again, mark up the perpendicular lines. Perpendicular lines, okay? So if this is 37, this is also 37. And I'm going to take one of these triangles, okay, and then put them out so that you can see what I'm talking about. So here, you've got, that's a 90, that's 37. You have to ask yourself, what is the missing angle? That's going to be 53. So both these angles are, I'm going to just draw arrows so it's clear. That's 53, and that's 53. Okay, so now you're going to have 90 here, 53 here, and 37 here. Okay, so let's do this one last problem. Okay, number 3. Angle 1. Okay, let's see what we can find out. Again, put these as 90, so obviously number 3 is going to be 90 right away. Okay, mark this, and then mark these. Okay, so again, these should be congruent. So if this, I would start off here. Okay, so that's my highlighted angle. So you have a 90, a 52. So you would go 180 minus 90 minus 52. Okay, and you would get 38. So angle 6 is 38. So what is angle 5? Also the same thing, 38. Okay, so now angle 7, okay, because angle 7, again, these are isosceles, angle 7 would also be 52. Okay, now let's tackle these other problems. Again, these are isosceles, right up. This is an isosceles triangle right here. Okay, so if that's 65, angle 4 would also be 65. Now let's take care of 1 and 2. Alright, so for this one, I'm going to highlight this triangle. Okay, and then I'm going to talk about that up here. So basically you've got a 90, you've got 65, and you've got X. So that, what's left over for that triangle, that's going to be 25, and because that's the same triangle, this is also going to be 25. Now, I want you to try number 4 on your own. Here's a little hint, okay? So use that as your hint, so go ahead and solve number 4, okay? Now, here is everything that we've done. You are expected to know every single thing and the way they flow. Here's your trapezoid, here's your isosceles trapezoid, parallelogram, you've got your rhombus, your rectangle, and finally your square. Okay, and we are done with this unit.